This is not a financial seminar. This is a briefing. We are here to dissect a weapon of mass financial destruction. The target is a philosophy, an illusion known as the hyperbolic mirage. Our method of engagement will be a surgical strike. Live your rich life today, spend extravagantly on the things you love. You've heard this before. It's whispered from every screen, every advertisement, every guru's masterclass. It feels like liberation, doesn't it? It has the taste of freedom. It's the sound of shackles you didn't even know you were wearing suddenly falling away. It feels like permission to surrender. Let's be perfectly clear. That philosophy is an intellectually fraudulent, biologically weaponized, and financially catastrophic lie. It is a contagion, a poison marketed as a luxury good. And today, we are going to trace that infection back to its source. We are going to expose the mechanism of the weapon itself. Consider this briefing a prosecution. We will proceed in 4 phases. First, the indictment, where we identify the architect of this lie and detail the specific charges. Second, the evidence, a deep forensic autopsy of the numbers they hope you'll ignore. Third, the mechanism, where we expose the biological flaw in your own cognitive hardware that is being systematically exploited. And finally, part 4, the verdict. This isn't advice. It is a non-negotiable protocol for your survival. So let's begin. The indictment. This infection, this philosophy, isn't some abstract force of culture. Oh no, it is a meticulously crafted and monetized ideology, championed by one man. He has built a multi-million-dollar empire. Books, courses, a Netflix show, all of it built on one simple, seductive premise, that the small details don't matter. His name is Ramit Sethi, and we are charging him as the patron saint of financial procrastination. The charges are specific. Count 1, fraudulent reframing. He takes your brain's innate, primitive inability to delay gratification and rebrands it as a sophisticated, high-minded strategy called conscious spending. Count 2, the pathologizing of discipline. He has the absolute audacity to call frugality, the literal bedrock of all wealth creation for centuries, a disease that needs to be cured. Count 3, the willful, aggressive dismissal of compound interest. He famously tells you to ignore the small daily leaks in your financial hull, the so-called latte factor, because they don't matter. In short, he provides a well-marketed, slickly produced intellectual permission slip for your most primitive, self-destructive impulses. He's a willing facilitator for your own financial suicide. You see, the crime is enabled by a fundamental flaw in your own system, a temporal glitch in your decision-making. It's a cognitive bias known as hyperbolic discounting. And you need to understand this. It is the mathematical proof that your brain is faulty hardware. It's a design flaw that systematically, predictably values immediate rewards over future ones. It creates this distortion field, where a $50 stake today feels infinitely more valuable than $5,000 in your retirement account tomorrow. Ramit Sethi's entire business model is built on finding that flaw and exploiting it for profit. We now proceed to part 2, the evidence. In this section, we move from accusation to cold, hard, undeniable proof. We will conduct a forensic examination of the numbers. We're going to put the rich life philosophy on the autopsy table, cut it open, and expose the rot within for all to see. The primary evidence comes from a landmark 1999 study conducted by researchers at the University of Chicago. It laid bare the raw irrationality of human financial decision-making. In the first scenario, subjects were given a simple choice. Take $10 right now, today, or wait just 24 hours to receive $11. Now, let's be clear about what that is. That is a 10% return on capital in a single day, a rate of return that would make a Wall Street hedge fund manager weep with joy. The logical, mathematical, only correct answer is to wait. But the majority of subjects, they didn't. They took the $10 today. But then, in the second scenario, the researchers shifted the parameters. The choice was now $10 in 1 year or $11 in 1 year and 1 day. Now look, the time delay between the payments is identical, 1 day. The rate of return is identical, 10%. But because the immediate dopamine hit of now was removed from the equation, the human brain suddenly becomes rational. The overwhelming majority chose to wait for the $11. This is the hyperbolic curve in action. It is the mathematical signature of a fatal flaw. Your brain treats the immediate now as a special dimension where the laws of logic and math are suspended. And this is the very biological flaw, the mathematical certainty of your own irrationality that Ramit Sethi's entire philosophy dismisses. He tells you that fighting this impulse, that focusing on these small daily choices, he calls that small stakes thinking. He instructs you, his paying customer, to ignore the $5 decisions and focus only on the so-called big wins. Very well. Let's take that argument seriously for a moment. Let's follow that logic all the way to its mathematically inevitable and utterly catastrophic conclusion. Let's analyze the evidence. A single $5 coffee. According to the guru, this is insignificant. It's just noise in the system, a rounding error in your rich life. Here is the autopsy report on that small stakes decision, that single $5 daily indulgence. If you instead redirected it into a simple, boring, low-cost S&P 500 index fund earning a historically average return of 8%, compounded over a standard 40-year working career, becomes approximately $500,000, $500,000. This isn't noise in the system. This is the down payment on a house. This is a fully funded retirement for someone. This is the mathematical delta between dignity in old age and destitution. You have to understand this. Impulse control is not a personality trait. It is a muscle. And small, daily acts of fiscal discipline are the repetitions that build that muscle. A person who cannot win the daily battle against a $5 cup of coffee has absolutely zero chance of winning the multi-year war against a $50,000 car loan or a $500,000 mortgage. Sethi's philosophy isn't a workout plan. It is a prescription for total, irreversible atrophy. And if you require a larger case study, a macro-level example of this exact pathology in action, we present Exhibit B, the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. It was the greatest collective failure of impulse control in modern history. The timeline is damning. The infection began around 2004. Low interest rates from the Federal Reserve and laughably easy credit standards created a nationwide bubble of immediate gratification. It was the rich life philosophy on steroids. By 2005, the primary delivery mechanism for this poison was perfected, the adjustable rate mortgage, or ARM. It was a financial product designed specifically to appeal to hyperbolic discounting. Then, in 2007, the future that millions had discounted so casually finally arrived. The teaser rates on those mortgages expired, and payments exploded, doubling, sometimes tripling, overnight. The house of cards began to fall. And by 2008, the cascade of defaults was so severe that the entire global financial system was collapsing under the sheer, crushing weight of millions of futures that had been recklessly cashed in for a fleeting, illusory present. Let's dissect the specific choice that was presented to millions of people. It was hyperbolic discounting on a catastrophic scale. Option A was the rational choice, a standard 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at a predictable 6%. It was safe, it was boring, it offered no immediate thrill. But then there was option B, the biological choice, a 228 adjustable rate mortgage. This weapon offered a tantalizingly low teaser rate of just 2% for the first 2 years. That 2% difference was the dopamine hit. It allowed the current self to buy a bigger house in a better neighborhood today. The catch? Well, after those 24 months, the rate would explode to 9% or higher. But that was a problem for the future self. And here's the kicker neuroscientists will tell you. When you think about your future self, your brain activity looks remarkably similar to when you think about a complete stranger. That 9% payment wasn't your problem. It was some other person's problem 2 years down the line. It was a perfectly engineered biological trap, and millions of people walked right into it. And the result? In a single year of 2007, there were 2.2 million foreclosure filings in the United States. Let that number sink in. That is more than 6,000 families losing their homes every single day. That is the real-world cost of discounting the future. It's not a rounding error. It is not small stakes thinking. It is a generational catastrophe, engineered by the financial industry and fueled by the exact same seductive, flawed mindset that is now being repackaged and sold to you as conscious spending. This brings us to part 3, the mechanism. So, why is this lie so effective? Why do we keep falling for it, generation after generation? Because the vulnerability isn't in the market. It's not in the economy. It's inside your skull. The underlying mechanism is called present bias. You must understand this, not as a theory, but as a literal civil war being fought between two parts of your brain. On one side, you have your limbic system, the ancient, emotional, impulsive part of your brain. Think of it as your inner toddler. It wants the cookie, and it wants it now. On the other side is your prefrontal cortex, the rational, planning, adult part of your brain. It knows you need to save money for next month's rent. Ramit Sethi's entire philosophy, his whole empire, is nothing more than a legal brief written in defense of your limbic system. He provides the intellectual justification to let the toddler win, every single time. The root cause of this internal conflict is a concept known as evolutionary mismatch. You are running prehistoric software in a modern world. For hundreds of thousands of years on the Pleistocene savanna, if one of your ancestors found a fruit tree, the 100% correct survival strategy was to consume every single piece of fruit immediately. There was no refrigerator, there was no savings account. Any fruit left behind would be eaten by competitors or rot by the next morning. Immediate, massive consumption was a critical survival trait. But today, you do not live on the savanna. You live in a world of abstract fiat currency, global markets, and the mathematical miracle of compound interest. In this new world, that ancient instinct to consume everything now is not a survival trait. It is a terminal illness. Your brain is still wired to eat all the fruit on the tree, and that is precisely why you will end up with nothing if you do not consciously, deliberately intervene.
Which leads us, finally, to our last section, the verdict. This is not advice. This is not a list of helpful suggestions. This is a non-negotiable protocol. It is designed to override your faulty biological hardware.
The ANALYST protocol is your countermeasure. It consists of 3 non-negotiable imperative commands. You will commit them to memory. Command 1, execute future self-visualization. This is your psychological warfare component. Command 2, establish the Ulysses contract. This is your structural defense system. Command 3, enforce the 72-hour friction rule. This is your tactical real-time intervention. We will now brief you on the execution of each command.
Command 1, execute future self-visualization. Studies by researchers like Hal Hirschfield at UCLA have demonstrated a powerful effect. When subjects are shown digitally aged renderings of their future selves, their willingness to save for retirement increases dramatically. You are going to weaponize this effect. Your assignment is to download a reputable aging application and generate a realistic image of your 80-year-old self. You will save this image to the home screen of your phone. Every single time you are tempted to buy a significant non-essential purchase, you will pull up this image, look them in the eyes, and ask yourself one simple question. Am I comfortable stealing this money directly from this person's pocket? Because that is precisely, literally what you are doing.
Command 2, establish the Ulysses contract. In Homer's Odyssey, the hero Ulysses knew he would be powerless against the beautiful, deadly song of the sirens. So he had his sailors tie him to the mast of his ship so he couldn't steer them into the rocks. He knew his future self would be weak, so he constrained his own choices in advance. You will do the same. You will tie your impulsive current self to the mast of total, ruthless automation. And let me be clear, this is not Sethi weak recommendation to automate 10%. This is the total automation of all your savings, all your investments, and all your critical bill payments the very instant your paycheck is deposited. You will set up automatic transfers so that the money designated for your future self never even touches your discretionary spending account. You must remove choice, and therefore the possibility of failure, from the equation entirely. Command 3, enforce the 72-hour friction rule. Hyperbolic discounting derives its power from one thing: immediacy. You must systematically destroy that immediacy. For any non-essential, extravagant purchase over a predetermined threshold, say $100, you are forbidden from executing the purchase for a full 72 hours. This is not a test of your willpower. It is a chemical intervention. When you first see that item you just have to have, your brain releases a spike of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with desire and anticipation, not actual happiness. The 72-hour rule is a mandatory cooling-off period. It allows that dopamine to metabolize and clear from your system. It allows the hyperbolic curve of irrational desire to flatten back toward a state of logic. You will find that the vast majority of things you had to have on Tuesday become objects of complete indifference by Friday. You are protecting your prefrontal cortex from the limbic system. You are protecting yourself from your own faulty hardware. Stop listening to the financial sirens who tell you what your impulses want to hear. The rich life is not found in a shopping cart or a luxury vacation. It is found in the absolute, uncompromising freedom that comes from a surplus of capital and a deficit of desire. Delay gratification. Secure your future. Because the only thing worse than not living your rich life today is having no life at all tomorrow.